We're joining here today to talk about video in sales, not just prospecting, but different ways that you might already be using video in your sales process, how to do that even better, and maybe some new ideas that you can introduce to your sales process as a salesperson, as an SDR, some creative prospecting techniques. My name is Will Aitken. I'm going to kind of moderate this session, but I'm also joined by the wonderful Reva. Say hi, Reva.
Hello.
What do you do?
Shall I say more than a hi?
Yeah, more, please.
So I am our strategic account manager at Vidyard. So I am working with our top customers and working to expand, upsell, expand our revenue in those accounts. I'm happy to be here.
Check it out. And we've also got Ryan from Outreach here. Ryan, what about yourself? What do you do?
Yep, nice to meet you all. My name is Ryon Addison. I'm a commercial account executive on the new logo team here at Outreach and hoping to bring you all a different perspective today. Will and Reva are experts in video, and I transitioned to tech sales about a year ago and am kind of just dabbling in the idea of the use of video and how I can use that and leverage that to drive some outcomes.
Check it out. Well, as we go, what I want everyone in the audience to do is know that you are welcome to ask questions as we go. And what we want to try and do is answer those as they come. Because we're going to be covering a few different topics throughout the sales process today. We don't want to talk about prospecting, then wait, 20 minutes before mentioning it again. So if you do have questions, make sure you use the Q&A and we'll try and address those as we go. But to start off, why are we here? Why are we talking about video to start with? Why are we not just sending emails and having meetings? I'm gonna answer that question, but first, Reva, why do you need to use video as part of your sales process?
So LinkedIn State of Selling report has a great report that you should read if you haven't read it, but it's all about how virtual buying is changing. Hybrid selling is here to stay. We'll start seeing people in person again if you haven't already. I know I have. It's been very nice, but there is going to be this component of hybrid selling forever. And there was a stat out there that like 80% of B2B buyers just want to buy remote from here on out. Ooh, they don't want to meet us. So we've got to adapt the way we sell. So text and phone calls, like they can only convey so much. And I think video is just such a rich medium to get a complex idea across so simply without like writing paragraphs of information. So I think it's not every touch that's going to be video, but video definitely can help elevate the way we sell in a hybrid world.
I love it. What about you, Ryan? What do you think? Video. Why is it important to try and incorporate video into our sales processes?
Yeah, to piggyback kind of off of what Reva was saying is, I came from, again, I mentioned this earlier, but came from an old school industry, shirt and tie every day, dropping off business cards, outside sales, and came to Outreach where it's a lot of phone calls, emails, trying to break through that noise. And, video is another tool in the toolkit to be able to achieve that. So using video in a lot of different ways to try and, again, drive those outcomes, whether it's booking a meeting, advancing a deal through some deal velocity, or any part of the closing stage as well.
That is awesome. Well, to add to that, really, video has helped me close more deals. It's helped me book more meetings. We'll get into some of those more tangible stories later. But of course, the main reason I like sending videos is because I want my prospects to know how good looking I am, right? Otherwise, how are they going to get that from an email, right? My subject picture is just too small. So get that video out there. Use what's in your arsenal. But first of all, I think the biggest use case for video, the one that everyone talks about, the one that everyone knows about, is the old whiteboard wave prospecting video, using it as part of your outbound sequences. Ryan, you're at Outreach. Can we speak to this a little bit? So Reva, how are some ways, and maybe if you want to include some stories, that you're using video at the start of the sales cycle, let's say, before we've even got into the pipeline, and then we'll jump into some other ways that you like as well.
Mm-hmm. So Vidyard's a huge product-led company. I don't know if people on the call, you can chime in the chat, but if there's any product-led component to your business. And I get the opportunity to sell to people like myself, like sellers, and Ryan does too, actually. So I use video a fair bit to reach out to individual contributors and make a connection. It breaks through the noise like that. My view rates are super high. My engagement's super high. And I get to talk to people who have downloaded Vidyard and learn about why they downloaded Vidyard and build a business case and work it up. So that's a big way I like to use video at the beginning of a sales cycle. I will say, like, beginning of a sales cycle too is not even the sales cycle, but anytime I get a new customer in my book, use a video to just introduce myself. I love that too.
What about you, Ryan? What are some ways that you use video today as part of your sales cycle?
Yeah, don't want to bring up a topic of contention, but cold outbound, warm outbound are a couple of areas that I've used video. But also, I think one of the big areas for me with outreach being such a complex, comprehensive platform is when I get someone who raises their hand or has a question on something and I need to explain what that is or answer their question concisely, I can respond with a video. People are really busy. Rather than sending them, all sorts of text and literature around a topic, I can send them a quick video with a visual that kind of walks through exactly what I'm trying to explain in a concise way.
Yeah, and maybe to talk to that topic on contention that you mentioned there.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, this is one I think Reva, you had something to speak about this. Like when people are going to start using video, where's one of the easiest places to start adopting as part of being a seller?
Yeah, totally. So I just real quick, I'll take a step back. So as I mentioned, I'm pretty new to leveraging video, about a year in, but I guess there's different philosophies around whether you should use video, for cold outbound prospecting. For me, and I'm going to throw myself under the bus there. Maybe that is not the best, way to do that, but that's an area that I've tried to prospect to get some meetings.
Yeah,
I think that's great. Like, I personally think that's great. Where my perspective comes in is I do a lot of training. I work with customers and people that are even maybe they're not paying yet and they're just trying to use Vidyard's free tool in their role. And so as someone who does a fair bit of training, I find that outbound videos, like whenever they hit. Like, there's so many examples of someone getting a response and saying, this was a great outreach. I love that you made me a video. But through training, I have found that can be a tough one for your first go at video. Often I'll find people are like, I don't know what to say. My video is too long. It's taking me too many times to get my script right. And I think there are some easier stepping stone videos to start like building your confidence as a rep. And then you can tackle an outbound prospecting. Outbound prospecting just seems super hairy to me and like many, many retakes. Whereas a meeting prep video that we'll get into, that could be a quick one. Like, hey, looking forward to talking to you on Wednesday. We're going to talk about ABC. Let me know if you have any questions. It's easy.
Yeah, I think it's not so much that you shouldn't use video for outbound prospect. I love it. I love it in the middle of a sequence after I've maybe sent an email or tried to give a couple of cold calls. I'll then drop a video in there. I think what sellers make the mistake of is they're going to say, okay, I'm going to use video. And that's the first thing they attempt. And that's probably the hardest video to get right. Like if you're going to just start doing video today, you've never done video before, you're choosing the hardest video to make by doing an outbound video because it takes a lot to get it right. And you're doing something to the audience who's probably going to be the least receptive of any form of communication. So if you're going to start making videos, go for some low-hanging fruit. Go for those warm inbounds or the people who are asking for more information or the handover. And this is one that I use it for a lot, is introducing myself, like Reva said. Like if an SDR books me a meeting and it's in 3 days' time, I'm going to send them a video saying, hey, my name's Will. How you doing? Looking forward to the meeting. This is the agenda right now. Is there anything you'd like to add to that? If not, speak to you on Friday. See, that is a much easier video for me to record than like a full prospecting video. So like if you're going to start somewhere, start with some of the easier ones to bite off and do, and then go from there. But that is a great way to improve show rates, by the way. That's one where I've had a lot of wins. We improved our show rates by like 20% of my last company from doing that as part of our process. Reva, where have you seen some wins in your sales process from using video?
Yeah, before I get into it, I'm going to say Jeffrey, thank you for chiming in. He is going to be a guinea pig for Vidyard, and that's exciting. But he brings up a really good point. I find real speaks louder than polished. And what's the saying we say at Vidyard? It's not about perfection. It's about.
I say end it and send it.
End it and send it. That's a good one. But yeah, like I find sometimes I will record a video so many times because I'm trying to get it right. And then I watch it back and I'm like, oh, that sounds like I have like memorized this. And that's like jarring for another person to listen to. Like, why have they memorized this? Like there should be some ums and some gestures of like, what am I trying to say here? It makes it so much more normal, human. But some wins I've had are bloopers and all. And okay, to Rebecca's point, if anyone like I've seen people like send like a montage of their bloopers or things like that. I just find that funny. I really love bloopers. But a big place that I find I win with video is enabling my champion in a deal. So there are many times where like you hope that you're going to be invited to a meeting or you've asked for an introduction to someone, but you're kind of being blocked. And I think like, don't stop there. Like, what's your next avenue? How can you still get in touch with someone while working with your champion? And so I've often created a video, if I ask like, hey, do you think we could chat with your VP of sales about this? And they say, you know what? No, like I'm going to catch them in the hallways or something. Then the next question I ask is like, what's your VP of sales want to know? Or what are you going to talk to them about? And if I can get some information about that, I often offer, could I record a 2 or 3 minute video about that? And then in your next meeting with them, just press play or send it to them ahead of the meeting. And it has worked a number of times. People will take you up on that offer. So that's a big way I like to use video that I've seen big wins from.
You've piqued my curiosity. So you telling me that you've sent videos like that have moved your deals along?
I've sent a video like that landed me a 6-figure deal.
Oh, we love those wins.
Yeah, and it was so exciting to watch because you've got tools like Outreach that tell you like when people are engaging. And I asked to be part of something. He said, I'm going to catch this person in a 15-minute. Like he is busy. I've got 10 minutes with him. Send me a video though about your implementation. And so I got my implementation team. I asked them, hey, can you record a 1-minute video about what they can expect? Sent it. It got viewed on the day during the time that he said he was meeting with the VP. So I was like, ooh, the meeting's happening and they're watching the video. And then shortly after I got an email saying, hey, we just have a few more questions. And so that those analytics and those insights, like we were continents apart. I still got the analytics and like could effectively follow up. So yeah.
That's a big one. We're in May now. The June, July, August months are approaching. And for salespeople, I find these are the ones that are most challenging. Like if you're selling a solution that you normally sell to a committee, like B2B, you're normally dealing with a few people, it can be so hard to get everyone in a room at the same time for a demo. And that's where like those asynchronous updates, those 2-minute videos that have been watched because you can track them, can literally save you weeks of a sales cycle. Last summer, like they were like, oh, we want to do a committee demo. We want to make sure we're going to have to, and they're like, look at the calendar. I'm on the call with the person. I'm like, oh my gosh. And they're like, oh, next week doesn't work. The week after that, so-and-so. And I'm like, this deal will be going next year at this rate. So I was like, look, stop. Like, I'll give these people a call. And then I sent every single stakeholder literally a 2-minute micro demo based on what they had told me was important to them. And then that was a way for me to just keep everyone engaged and keep that deal moving along. And everyone really appreciated it as well, because frankly, people don't always want to jump on a meeting. I know internally, I get on some meetings, I'm like, this could have been an email. Should have been a video, to be honest. All right. Emails, we get too many of those as well. Ryan, you said that you've been using video mainly for outbound prospecting. Could you tell me some areas where you've seen success there?
Yeah, definitely. Going back to something both of you kind of mentioned earlier is like omnichannel. So depending on the target that I'm going after, kind of having an understanding of, maybe I'm going to introduce myself to that person over the phone first, follow up with an email, and then a video, or whatever the order of operations there might be, depending on that prospect, their industry, if it's completely cold outbound, just trying to, again, break through that noise and leverage that video. Going back to your original question on wins, just in general, where I've seen success leveraging video is through basically, I'm not going to say anything here that's revolutionary for anybody on this call, but most of the people who are selling that are joining this webinar probably have some solution that really solves a problem, which is great. But oftentimes what I'm finding in software sales, which is different than my previous career, is buyers don't always know the buying process. It amazes me how many companies don't have a set buying process for a software like Outreach, for example. So using video to help guide them through that buying process has been really beneficial for me. An example of that in a win that I had recently was I had a company that was looking at buying Outreach. We got buy-in from marketing, sales, operations. Everybody is, raving about the value of Outreach to their organization, but they don't know how implementation would go. So we set them up with an evangelist and a deployment methodology specialist to help walk them through that, leveraging a quick video. And then another piece of that was they were building out an SDR team. They didn't really know how to run an SDR org because that was all new to them. So using a video to introduce them to our SDR leader, give them some thought leadership around that, really helped kind of booster their confidence in us to be able to bring on Outreach.
That's really awesome. That's like a guide.
Thank you.
Love that, because it's not all video you've created yourself. You're like tapping on resources, and that's a big thing in B2B sales too, is like selling as a team. And so you're tapping an SDR leader who has the expertise and adding value to the customer because you are you're like depositing something to build some trust and show like, this is the team you're going to have when you start paying us. So I really love that.
Yeah. In sales, I find it really a great way to build urgency during your sales cycle is always trying to refer to next steps. So they're always forward thinking with the prospects kind of doing that with you. So doing videos where they get to meet their account manager, their customer success person, gets them thinking about implementation. And that way, when you actually ask them to make the sale, they've already kind of thought about that. They're not trying to process all the information at the same time. Yes. On the note of bringing other people in to do the videos, this one video, and this might commoditize it a little bit by me sharing a secret here on this webinar. But if you're in a smaller company, and this is what I've done previously, and I've seen it work with Vidyard as well, you can tap someone more senior than you in the organization to try and move your deal along. And what this means is if you're selling to a VP, you can get your VP or your CEO, maybe, depending on the size of your organization. It's not going to happen if you're like a 10,000 person company. You probably don't have line of sight to tap the CEO and say, hey, make me a video. But I used to have that in a sub 100 employee company. I'd get my CEO to record them a video just saying straight up, hey, Will's told me that he's working with you right now. Really excited to have you on as a customer. Let me know if there's anything I can do to show up. And that was something, by bringing in someone else, senior in my organization, it showed the customer that we were willing to show up and their business was really important to us. And that actually directly, people told me, that was the difference between us winning and losing a sale to a large competitor who maybe didn't have the ability to go and tap their CEO. So if you're in a small company, use that as an agile way to be like, hey, CEO, can you record me a 30-second video just saying hi to this customer? And that's a great way to show up. So yeah, great point, Ryan. Bringing other people in from the team, that's an awesome way to make use of video, and takes the onus off yourself to have to record lots of videos like we mentioned earlier.
Just check in the chat. Lots of people testing out video, even if you don't have other videos. Yeah. I
saw a question come through. What's the text and the email that you wrap around the video to ensure alignment and viewing? Which is a question we get all the time in video, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you answer that one first, Reva, and then I'll.
Yeah. So you want to strike a balance, and the text content around your video definitely serves a purpose. One is it would look very strange, I think, if you just wrote, hey, Will, video, thanks. So you want to like warm it up a bit. And I like to think about the text, number one, proactively addressing concerns people might have about the video. So put yourself in their shoes. Maybe this is the first video they're receiving. What are some reasons you think they might not want to click play? The big objection might be, ooh, is this for me? Is this safe? So let them know. And there's visual cues you can use too in your video. Like if you use one of those free apps on your phone and you've got, hi, Ryan. Okay, that was made for Ryan. Like, or if you've got their LinkedIn up in your background, something like that to like visually let them know, like, this is safe. Number two, if they open it up and they're like, is this a 15-minute video I'm about to click on? Let them know, like, I recorded a 47-second video for you. They're like, okay, that I can watch that before my next meeting. So those are the like purposes of the text. But then when I say strike a balance, you don't want to give everything away. You still want them to click on your video. So you've got to like pique their curiosity, let them know something interesting is in the video.
Yeah.
And that's what it serves.
Peel back that kimono just a little bit, just a teaser, right?
Yeah.
If it's a prospecting email, I've always found a lot of success with like, typically in my videos or emails, whenever I prospect, I always try and leave with something relevant to the customer. So that might be, hey, I spotted you're hiring, or I spotted that you just got acquired, or you spotted that you just had a merger, or that you recently got some funding and your CEO said this in the announcement. I'll actually bring that personalization piece out of the video and just be like, hey, this video is about your recent acquisition or your recent hires that you've been making, because that's the relevance at the start of the thing. So that will often be enough to pique the curiosity to click on the video, and then I can go and I can repeat that. That's okay. Like, it's all right to say it twice. I'm like, hey, John, spotted you're hiring 27 SDRs right now. Often when I see teams grow at such an impressive rate, they often need a sales engagement platform to make sure everything's being tracked, and they're using automation the right way. Curious though, is this something you've got sorted? Let me know if this is interesting. Drop me a reply to the email. So that could be an awesome video that Ryan could send, and then that teaser text could just be like, video about your new SDR hires. And that's enough for a tease that they know it's for them. And the thumbnail, like Reva said, if you put that on their LinkedIn profile in the background, or if you're holding a sign that says, hey, they know it's not just some automated random link that they're about to click on.
Right. I think we've got lots of things in the chat. I'm just trying to like multitask. There's some questions in here though.
Yeah, so Frederick's got a real good one. How do you ensure the delivery of videos via email? How do you ensure that the presence of an embedded video does not send the email to junk or spam? There are some steps that you can take to avoid this. It's a good one, and it's one that a lot of people get sent to spam anyway, by the way, just as sales reps, and they don't realize. Like, that's a big challenge for any email that you send to any prospect ever. And the way I reduce the risk of this is, one, make sure there's no other links in my email. It's when you start hammering them several links that sets off some alarm bells. You're not putting any attachments in there, which is really good, which is another alarm bell thing. So get rid of your calendar link. No one ever uses it anyway. No one's ever clicked that button in your calendar and be like, I'm going to book some time with this SDR. Like, that's an unnecessary link that everyone includes in their emails. So if you're worried about links, that's an easy one to get rid of. And then the GT reviews and all that stuff, I know marketing say, oh, put them in there. No, don't. Just get rid of them if you can. So reduce the number of links. But two, that's why I like sending video as like a not a first step, but often like a fourth or fifth step. So I'll often call someone. I'll leave them a voicemail saying, hey, I'm going to send you an email. I'll send them a very well personalized and relevant email. And then I'll call them again. And then I might send them a video to follow up on that initial email. And because that initial email didn't have any links in it, or I assume got through their spam, if we did, that video will also then be part of that thread that lands in their inbox. So that's one way I've had a lot of success avoiding the whole spam trap.
Yeah. I would say too, it's good to know the way this works. So there's no tool out there where your video is going to play in the email itself. It's not like some massive file that is in the email. It's a hyperlinked image that's taking them to a page to watch. So it really is treated just like a link. I know sometimes people wonder, is it an attachment? It's not like that. So all the tools out there on the market today, Vidyard included, is just like a link to a page.
Yeah. That is very true. So like it's pretty much the same as linking to anything else ever, and most people do have links in their signatures. So get rid of those, and then you can make up them with some great videos. Someone else said in the video some creative video attempts, and this is a topic that if you go on Vidyard.com, by the way, there's like a whole page dedicated to the best videos that have ever been sent. Basically, they're hilarious. Reva, have you got any examples top of mind of great videos that people have sent to prospects?
Well, I was going to ask Ryan, have you seen the Hot Wings video?
I have not seen the Hot Wings video.
Okay, so some homework for everyone after this call. I think it's on the Inspiration Hub actually, but one that is just like cemented in my mind forever is, yeah, Jason's seen the Hot Wings video. So there was a BDR at a company and he was going to be prospecting Buffalo Wild Wings. And so instead of just getting a whiteboard and shooting his normal video, he went out and bought their hottest wings. And he delivered his video pitch while eating these extremely hot wings and choking and coughing, but he powered through, and his fellow BDRs are in the background, like taking videos and like laughing. And it just got shared virally with the customer. And so like anytime you have an opportunity to lean into something like that, it's not going to happen all the time, especially if a lot of us sell software. But he was selling software too. He just took a moment to be like, oh, who's my customer? This is perfect. But I've seen people, like if they're selling to a retail store, go to the retail store and record themselves with their iPhone and be standing there, or product placement, or bringing your hobby into it if there's something that you've found through social research that connects you that way. So yeah, doesn't always come up, but like when you can, take advantage of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, those are some cool examples.
Do you like to be humorous in your videos, Ryan? Like I know I err on the side of like my typical personality, but do you ever bring humor?
It's interesting you asked that, because I was like pondering this as we were having this discussion. And I guess not to get too philosophical behind this, but I think one of the cool things about video is like you can be authentic. I don't find myself very funny. I pride myself on being simple, but I am trying to get more creative around, different ways to prospect. And I have seen, people who have a great sense of humor be able to leverage that. Other people who have kind of, that personality that's vibrant can sit well with some people too. So it's just, knowing what you're good at and where you might be able to leverage that, I think is big. But I wouldn't say my strong suit is humor.
I love what you said though, that it's about like being yourself, because if you get on a call after sending all these videos and you've put on a show to be humorous, and then you're actually not really like that and you're more serious, like not like rude, but that's just not your personality, it kind of is strange. So I feel like that's such a great tip for people starting with video, is don't try to put on a show or be someone that you're not, or emulate something you've seen someone else do. Think about like what your style and personality is, be genuine, just bring your authentic self into it. Yeah. And Mark says authenticity is key. It really is. Yeah.
To rattle off some funnier examples as well. So one guy who had he cracked, don't do this if you know often at least, but he had a cup, and he said, look, if I eat a raw egg, you got to book a meeting with me. And then he just cracked the egg into the cup and drank it anyway. He just said YOLO. And he's like, well, now I've done my end. You got to book the meeting, right? So that's a funny one. I've seen people bring in like ukuleles if they're like musically talented. I've seen someone with like one of those electronic saxophones. Bringing like your creative and interest into it. I am a big fan of bringing a lightsaber prop into my videos, because like not that many people have lightsabers, and like I would say like 70% of the world likes Star Wars. So if they are one of those Star Wars fans, then I can capitalize on that and bring in some of my interest in some unique props that we don't have.
And it's still authentic.
Yeah, and it's super authentic, because
if I brought in Star Wars, I wouldn't really know what to say next.
What? What's that? Like, yeah, like I don't know any words, or I haven't seen any of the films. I don't even know what order they came out, right? Whereas like they're going to jump on a call with me, and then we're going to chat about like everything that's behind me right here, right? So it's kind of bring in your interest into it, and that means you don't have to really fake it too much as well, because it's so exhausting trying to be something you're not. And this is something I talk about online as well. in social media, but we don't want to change the topic too much. Just try and be yourself, bring things that you're interested into it. Ryan, I do think you're funny. You made me laugh just then when you said you weren't funny. So,
Thanks, Will.
leverage that way you can. I'm just thinking of some other places where you can use video in the process. And it dawned on me, a really, really good one for AEs and people who are in closing roles is using video as part of the proposal process. Because this is a step where a lot of the control is out of your hands and you're relying on your champion a lot of the time to do the selling for you. I've found a ton of success with sending a video along with the proposal, or if you're using a platform that allows embedding, then embedding a video in the proposal, which kind of addresses the person who's going to be signing the document and says, hey, these are the next steps. This is why you're looking at the solution. Here's all the frequently asked questions we get. And that will actually save you a lot of back and forth throughout the process. Ryan, I know you're an AE. Outside of have you ever adopted that approach? If not, what do you think of that? How do you feel about that idea?
Yeah, definitely love that approach. I actually got a new manager recently, and we ran into this situation where they were asking for pricing, and we knew it was kind of not complicated, but we didn't want telephone game. As they're presenting the pricing to their executive leadership, we need it to be communicated correctly. That way there's no questions in between. In case we never get to have that conversation with that person. So this new manager that I have actually made that recommendation, let's send them a quick video walking through the proposal. Super helpful. Like, I can't emphasize that enough, because it's not just pricing. And a lot of times, to Reva's point earlier with the champion, they want to help you out. They're going to take that pricing and present it to the best of their ability. But there can be, confusing steps along the way. Whether you have levers with timeline for buying or volume of seats or, whatever the case may be, multi-product, multi-year, being able to explain that concisely so that somebody else doesn't have to, because they're not an expert in your field, is super beneficial, super valuable.
I love that. It's also like it takes a weight off your champion, because I'm just trying to picture myself in the shoes of trying to sell something internally. I really want it. I'm bought in, but maybe I'm not good at persuading, or maybe I start to explain it and then I get caught off guard with the questions I'm getting. It takes so much weight off that person to just say, you know what, Ryan's taking the time to organize his thoughts on this proposal, present it in a compelling way. It's your job to sell it, right? And then makes it easy for them.
Yeah, one more thing on that. I just think it can give them more confidence behind you presenting those numbers too, because, even though you're making that video quick, if for example, a lot of times a hang up for people when they're buying outreach is they feel like adoption is going to be low, or they feel like implementation is going to be too heavy of a lift. If you can just add a quick blurb, we do it all the time here. We measure our success on your adoption. Here's how we do that, and lay that out really clearly. People are like, oh, okay. They really are invested on deploying this correctly, which is huge for us. We don't want to buy another software that sits there and we pay, monthly and not use it. So it's just an area where you can probably, if you've had that conversation, not say that for the first time, but hopefully reemphasize something that you've already told them.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, to add to that, Ryan, Reva, myself, we all sell. We have the benefit of selling to salespeople. Generally, the people we're selling into, maybe they're in RevOps, but they've probably got a sales background. They kind of get it. They're probably quite good at passing information along. If you're selling to a different department, then your champion may not feel even less equipped to speak to some of the things that you're doing. So we're finding usefulness in that. If you're selling to HR or IT, then taking that weight off your champion and you are the most qualified person to speak about it. So try and it's a big risk just handing that over to someone. That could be a really late stage deal killer, which is one of the worst things as well. We did get another question.
What was it?
Yeah, I saw someone there.
What about a super cute kid in a video? Feels risky and yet so tempting.
I say I have a super cute kid. I don't include her in my videos, but I have seen people do that, or even pets. I'm not saying kids and pets are the same thing, but like, I think it needs to have a reason or a purpose. So I saw someone do something with their cat or their dog, and it was like cue cards of like, the video was just like a lot of takes of different cue cards, but it was because the person knew they loved cats.
Right.
And so I could see them. But if it's just like, check out my cute kid. Okay, anyways, here's my pitch. I don't know. I think it needs to have a reason.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't. I think it's risky putting your kids in videos. I don't know. Like, I think Reva, you're right. You can't just be like, have your kid there and then just be like, oh, by the way, we help improve response rates. So you got to tie the kid in somewhere, right? Maybe even then, I don't know. Like, my kid's pretty cute as well, and it comes. I think it just maybe putting the kid in. Like, I don't know. The pets, I think, is funny. I don't know about the kids though. It's kind of like, in my world, I'd worry that the prospect I'm trying to get them to feel sorry for me or something. I don't know. Like, in my mind, I think there's more creative ways to do it. But I like the idea of my kitten maybe, and the cute cat idea. Or if I know the prospect's a big fan of dogs and cats, then boom, that's the reason bring the cat in, right? Or we had a chat and we found out our kids were the same age, and it was after a discovery call, and we found out there was some commonalities there, or like their kid is called Archie and mine's called Archie as well. Then that might be a reason to bring the living prop into the video.
I agree. I was gonna say, like, going back to authenticity, I do speak on LinkedIn about having a kid, balancing childcare in the pandemic world. And if I spoke to someone and I knew they also, we vibed on that, or we talked about that, and then my kid came running through my room, maybe I would keep that take and be like, actually, that person's probably going to get this juggling act. And so it's an authentic thing. So yeah, things to think about.
Yeah. Someone in the comments did say, hey, you've talked about all these great videos, but it's better to show them. So I am going to try and pull up a video here, because you are right. But in the meantime, I'd love to make sure we tick off some of the big questions we get a lot about. Like, so just to recap, we've talked about using video and prospecting. We've talked about the best way to start on video isn't using it straight away for the hardest videos. Maybe start with some handovers or some informations, or sending some resources across. You can use it for handovers between your SDR and your AE. You can use it to answer prospect questions without having to jump in a call, and make sure your deals are still moving along in summertime when everyone's on vacation. We use them in proposals, and you can get your senior people or other people in your company to come and jump in on those as well. And then, of course, you can use them for handovers to customer success, just to keep everything smoothing and bridge the gaps between calls, basically. But one thing we always get asked is, like, what about setup? What do we do before we even record the video? And there are definitely some best practices there. So Reva, while I click around and try and find some great examples of videos, what are some things that people should be aware of before they start hitting that record button?
Yeah, I'm going to get to, there's one other question in the chat from Samira. There are so many video platforms, Loom, Dub, Vidyard. Are you all partial to either? And if so, why? I know Vidyard is a sponsor for Live Better, Sell Better with KD. So yeah, definitely so many out there, even more than you've listed. It all depends what you're looking to use it for and what you're looking for. And I know Loom has a free tool. Vidyard's got a free tool as well. I'm not so familiar with Dub. So if you want to like test the waters, see if you like to use video, see if you've got some preliminary results, they're both out there to try. Some seem to be built for different use cases. So maybe more on the internal communication side versus the sales side. There's also things to keep in mind on, what integrations are going to be important to you? How many people are going to be using the platform? Where do you want to use this tool? What analytics matter? So lots of things as you look into some of the paid options for these tools, but there are lots of tools out there that you can download and get started with right away. And yeah, I would recommend testing them all out, seeing what you like. Getting into the setup, I will give a tip, and then I'd love to hear Ryan's tip as well. But I think a big tip for me is making sure you have your eye level set up. And the background, I don't think it doesn't need to be anything crazy. I think something clean. Even if your bed is in the background, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Make sure your bed is made, those types of things, because we can't all choose what our situation is, but those would be big pieces of advice for me. What about you, Ryan?
That's a great question. Like that's an area that I probably am looking for answers. Actually, before I hopped on this call, I had a buddy of mine call me, and he FaceTimed me, and he's like, "You're gonna do this webinar? You don't want to iron your shirt?" uh, so I don't know. I'm looking for tips there. I saw some questions around like virtual background versus real background. I know Will is big on lighting. Um, I need advice. I'm trying to
like
step
your
up there.
audio right now. I was going to say audio is another big one, and that headset you're wearing, it gives really nice audio. But even getting audio, and actually, Will, I think you just recorded a video about this recently. You don't have to invest so much to get these things.
Like what Ryan has done there is like the closer your mic you can get to the mouth. And I will put the video. So I did a video on setups recently. I'll put it in the chat so you can all watch it afterwards. It's on YouTube, but don't leave us. Just open it in a new tab and then go watch afterwards. I did a video just on video setups you can do. What Ryan's done there is the closer you can get that microphone to your mouth, the better. So I don't think you need to spend a ton of money to look great, but there are a few things you want to do. Make sure you've not got a big light source right behind you. That can really make you look dark and scary because it blows you out. So try and sit with a window in front of you or to the side like Reva is right now. You can even buy a ring light. They're very affordable. I'd avoid using the built-in microphone in your laptop because it's just really tinny. So like just getting a headset like what Ryan's wearing now, or even just headphones like what Reva's got on. Those very affordable things are going to make you sound a lot better and clearer during videos that you're recording for prospects, but also during meetings, which is really important because you want people to understand you, right? Most webcams have webcams built into them. I wouldn't stress too much about that side. I'd focus more so on audio first. But maybe make sure that's clean. Give it a spray with a Windex. Make sure there's no thumbprints on there. And then just make sure you're well lit from the front. And that's going to be immediately things that can make you look and sound better.
Got a question here about the latest Office 365 seeming to click on all the links and getting emails sent to junk. So if I've understood this question correctly, I would say I'll go back to what Will recommended of really stripping out all links, trying to get a text-based email in first, have that positive send, and then try video and have that single link be your video link as opposed to an email link and a book a meeting link and a website link. Really try to minimize. I think that would be my only piece of feedback there. I personally haven't heard of this issue or that this issue is causing any poor results on deliverability necessarily, but something I will keep an eye on.
To answer the other question, real background or virtual background? I think it depends. Do you have a nice background? Where are you? Right? Like if you're in a Starbucks, then I wouldn't want I wouldn't want that going on. But if you're someone who has spent way too much money on lightsabers and you really want to show them off, then like yeah, use a real background. So I think it all depends, and the same way with that as well. Like with audio, if you don't have control over that, there's some great noise cancellation softwares like Crisp that you can install. So if you have work being done in your house or if you're in a public place, then check out there's lots of free ones. Crisp is the one that I use sometimes when I'm having renos done or whatever it is, because that can really help make sure you don't have a disaster of a call or you don't need to re-record your video because a door slammed somewhere and you're worried about that upsetting the prospect.
I will say with the virtual backgrounds, there are some fun free tools that you can download. I know that BDRs at Vidyard do this quite a bit where if for some of the like strategic accounts they're trying to like break into, they would set their background to like looking like they were sitting in the waiting room of that company. And I just thought that was so funny. And it was so great. Like, so if you want to bring that's another way to bring comedy. You're not being funny verbally, but you are sitting in their waiting room. So it just is kind of great.
Yeah, Snap camera is actually a really good one to introduce like props and backgrounds. You can make yourself bold. Like, I don't know how you tie that into a video, but like that could be a fun way. So I put up some examples because someone was like, hey, what are some funny examples of videos that people send and creative ones? So let's make sure that hopefully this works, but I will share my screen. And this is one of the ukulele ones I was referring to earlier. So if you're musical, then you can do something like this.
5 creative versions, max out the frequency cap. Bid high to win the auction, now who wouldn't want that? Install the insight tag to see who visits your site. And use matched audiences to retarget right.
So that's someone who's talking about retargeting ads, and they've made it really fun and like catchy by bringing in music. This person is someone who now works at Vidyard. His videos were so good that we had to hire him. This is Chris Van Prague, who's very, very cool guy, and he used some basic editing. He did this in iMovie, which someone asked about earlier, and you'll see what I mean here.
I was going to call you, but you're undoubtedly a very busy man, so I thought I would shoot you a video. I would love to have a call, but my interest in Flow Live is of a slightly different nature. We have been watching you, not in a creepy way, but your marketing director, Anna Viner, downloaded the free HubSpot CRM a few months ago, and over the last few months we've been sending over some useful resources related to that. I work for a HubSpot partner dedicated to helping customers grow, and I feel pretty confident that we're a good fit to work together. So here's what I know. You've got a very exciting product, you've got some new funding, you've got a new CEO, and you are specifically looking to increase your presence in Europe, the US, and also increase your marketing presence. You've also recently...
So in that one, Chris didn't use any props or anything, it's just outside, but he used some fun editing to throw up some examples and give it a bit more visual interest as well. So that's another way you can get creative. This, I believe, is the one that everyone was talking about earlier, the Buffalo Wild Wings famous example. All these are very available on Vidyard in resources under video inspiration, so check some of these out afterwards if we don't get to them. But this is one that was Buffalo Wild Wings example.
Guys, this is Frankie over at Dynamic Signal. I say guys because I'm actually going to be sending this video to a couple of you. I don't want to have to do it over and over again. So this is to Micah, Luke, Jeff, Diana, Kathy, Erica, and Angie. So this is my lunch for today. You'll see here blazing. So I'm going to be eating some of these blazing wings for you while giving my pitch. So should be fun. This is me happy before trying this. So here we go. Let's get a nice, ooh, it is nice and juicy. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good looking one. Okay, so let's have some fun. So the reason that I wanted to reach out to you guys was
it doesn't get much better than that. It gets worse, actually, much worse. So you have to check out the full video. And then I think there was just one more. No, okay. Well, that's all the ones I had ready to show. But those are some more visual examples, and you can check out those in a lot more on resources on Vidyard, and then video inspiration. And there's funnier ones, and well, actually, no, it's probably not any funnier ones than that one. That one's probably the best one. It's legendary in the Vidyard world.
On that inspiration hub, there are it's kind of broken down into so you can take a look at customer examples and Vidyard examples of prospecting videos, or when someone has ghosted you on a meeting, or so they're kind of broken out. So if you ever need some inspiration, like grab a coffee when you're taking a 30-minute break or in your morning, just watch a few of these, and I think they're really good. There's some serious ones, there's some funny ones, and you'll find something that works for you.
Awesome.
Is that it, Will?
I don't know. We answered all the questions that we went, which kind of shot ourselves in the foot. But like, we've got such a great group here. I really appreciate everyone getting really engaged in the chat. I think the main takeaway is like video. I'll tell you one more story. So video, we keep talking about like why video is awesome, because it allows you to be authentic. It allows you to do a couple of other things as well. And like cold calling can do this to a certain extent, but email is like very basic. It's just the words. Cold calling, you can use your tone and your and the words you say. But then on video, you can see what's going on. You can use body language. You can use eye contact. You can use the tone. You can smile. It builds such a more memorable experience, and it allows you to be really emphatic and deliver emotion in a better way than I think any other platform. So that's probably why I'm such a big fan of video, and why it was such an easy decision to join the Vidyard team way back when I switched. because I was using it beforehand. But when I was using it beforehand, when I wasn't being paid to say stuff like this, I sent a video, and it was a I don't know if that's the right way to say it. It was a long shot, and I got a call from my champion on from a unicorn that I was trying to sell to. They just got like $100 million of funding. And I was like, well, the sale has to happen now. And sure enough, I got an email from my champion saying, hey, our priorities have come up. And I was like, whoa, we've discovered all these facts about your company. I'm certain we can help you. And they were having none of it. And I knew that the order had come from their superior. So what I decided to do was get on my video, and I literally just said, hey, I know that you just got this funding round. I actually read it now that part of the press release was delivering exceptional experiences to your customers. And right now, because of this problem, it is directly affecting the experiences your customers are having, potentially even affecting your pipeline. Is this an issue that you can really leave? And I send that email across with that tone, with that seriousness, with that personalization. And sure enough, 2 minutes later, the champion emailed me and said, Will, we're back on. Let's talk. Can you send me a proposal? So I don't think I could have sent that same email or made that same cold call. I think that's where video allows you to shine, when you need to display and directly affect the emotions of another person. Mm-hmm. So that's like, I suppose, to spend another couple of minutes, but also to leave you with thinking today about how you can use video in your sales processes.
Awesome.
Thank you all. Where can we find you, Ryan?
You can find me. I'm not big on social yet, but you can find me on LinkedIn. I'll definitely be adding some people. Like I said in the chat, there are so many good ideas thrown out there. If you find me on LinkedIn, feel free to add me. Don't hesitate. If you feel like I can bring you any value, or you just want to connect, and I'll do the same.
Ryon Addison.
Ryon Addison, spelled with an O.
Yeah, but pronounced like Ryan.
Yep.
That's awesome. And Reva's throwing your LinkedIn in the chat there.
Yeah.
I'll do the same thing. Please do connect. We've got our inboxes are open, especially mine and Reva's. I can speak to both first. We're happy to share tips on video and how we've seen success.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you for spending some time with us. Hope it was insightful, and yeah, it's great being here.
Yeah, this was awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye, everyone.